All right, well, thank you everyone so much for your time today. We're going to be talking about transforming your data center management, more specifically, how to help manage capacity within your data centers. So my name is Fred Coe. I'm the Director of Sales for Graphical Networks. My colleague Jason Sherman, unfortunately, is tied up in another customer meeting, so it will just be yours truly, myself. And for this 30-minute webinar, just going to go through a quick overview of the pains that a lot of people experience in regards to managing data center space, whether it's managing the space capacity, the power capacity, weight availability, and overall capacity of the data center rooms. I have two polling questions as well. After that, I'll go through a very high-level overview demo of netTerrain, DCIM. I'll answer any of your questions you may have. So in the Zoom webinar, what do you call it, client, there is a button to do a chat as well as a Q&A. I will get through those Q&A and chats towards the end of the webinar. And yeah, so I'll get started. And forgive me, I don't like doing PowerPoint slides, so I'll try to make this as brief as possible. So why do people are looking for like a DCIM type solution? It's really specific in regards to managing the data center capacity. Knowing all the assets you have inside your data center room, each rack, each row, how much power is being consumed in real time, or if you want to do nameplate power. How do I know if I have enough space inside a rack for my given, say, 8U space, 8U piece of equipment that consumes X number of power and rack space units? So how do you keep track of that? You know, a lot of our customers or prospects or organizations that we talk to, a lot of them use Visio and spreadsheets. And you know, is that a real effective tools to use to help manage the capacity of your data centers? How do you keep track of the changes inside your data center as well? So again, this slide talks about what I just kind of went over. How do you best utilize the rack space, the power? And how do you properly plan for capacity planning with your data center? If you're doing any type of data center moves, migrations, having a tool like netTerrain, for example, would be very beneficial. Zombie servers, I'll talk a little bit more about this when we go through our power monitoring, but there are a lot of servers out there or equipment inside racks that consume valuable space as well as power, but then they're not really utilized at all. It could be from a former colleague, employee who left a couple of years ago, who knew what that equipment was for, with no proper documentation. A lot of those devices are still left in the data center rooms. So how can you find what we call zombie servers? So you can either consolidate them or decommission them or utilize them. So that regards, again, regards to capacity planning, managing the space within your data centers, and how are the tools like netTerrain DCIM able to help you control the capacity. So DCIM, data center infrastructure management, it will help you track all your assets, the power, the cooling, real-time power monitoring, but we also do a lot of cable management as well. That's something, if anyone here in the attendance are looking for a DCIM solution, one thing a lot of people do tend to forget is cable management. How do I manage all the cables inside my data center rooms? Are there any fiber cables that are coming into the building? How many strands are there? How many cables are inside my racks? How many are going out of my racks? So zombie cables is also another thing, which we'll probably talk about in another webinar. So again, a lot of different factors in regards to managing the capacity with your data centers. Again, a lot of people automatically think of space. What's in my rack? How much free space do I have? But also you have to keep in mind the power and the cooling, as well as the weight availability. How much weight can the raised floor space in this certain row can handle. So with that said, I'm gonna stop. Let's see, let me stop my share and get my polling question out. All right, so poll question number 1, current documentation. How do you currently document and manage your data centers and networks? So I'll give this about a minute. All right, I'll stop now. I'll share the results. So it looks like the big winner is spreadsheets and Visio, which is, but that's exactly what most of the customers or organizations that we talk to use. It looks like 5 of you guys already currently have a DCIM type solution. Coworker seems to know everything. That's funny. We get a lot of folks are retiring now, and their management's like, oh my gosh, we need, say this guy Bob, we need you, Bob, to document everything you know about the data center and networks before you leave. So we need to find a solution that can help us for new employees, new people that take over his position, to know exactly what's in the data center room, what's exactly in the network, how are things connected to each other. So I'll stop sharing that. And I will launch second polling question. So what are you most interested in learning about today? Simplifying capacity planning, help reduce power and cooling costs, finding zombie servers, again, going back to underutilized servers, using up valuable data center capacity space, optimizing rack space, and untangling cable spaghetti. I'll do this and I'll stop this in about 10 seconds. All right, I'll stop this now. I'll share the results. All right, it looks like a lot of people here are looking to help optimize their rack space. And close second is going simplifying capacity planning, as well as untangling cable spaghettis. So I will focus on those more or less. I'll talk a little bit more about the power, but I'll very quickly, briefly talk about that. So I'm going to go back and share my screen. I'm going to go ahead and pull up netTerrain. All right. So netTerrain is a decent solution. I'm sure you guys are doing your research, and there are other decent solutions out there. So netTerrain can be deployed as a SaaS solution or an on-prem solution. For folks here that are interested in netTerrain for on-prem, it is a Windows-based solution. So you'll need to install a Windows server with an IIS.NET framework. Microsoft SQL database server license is also required. And all you need is just a standard HTML5 web browser. There are no plugins required, no extensions needed. It's just a standard HTML5 web browser. So when you initially start with netTerrain, it's going to be a blank diagram like this. So netTerrain is really comprised of our catalog. That's how you start building your rack diagrams or any diagrams. So you basically drag and drop items from the catalog and place it on the diagram. So, and all the objects you see here, the data fields, they're customizable, meaning you can add as many data fields as you like for any given object. If you also right click, you can also attach documents as well. So a lot of customers like to embed documents like config files, operation manuals, emergency procedures. So again, you can embed documents in netTerrain. You can add as many data fields as you like. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to add a new data field. It's called states. So here's the new data field that's created, states. If you double click, it brings you down to a child diagram. And this is where you can start placing your buildings inside maps, for example. I'll just put my address here. There we are. Oops. So this is my building here. Hit OK. Then you can start building. You can also use Google Satellite too if you want, or Google Maps, or I'll just get back here. And then you can place buildings into your diagrams with HQ. Double click. Many of our customers like to import pictures of their buildings, for example. Just showing you one way how you can start building your documentation, netTerrain. Again, you don't need to do it this way. I'm just showing you how many of our customers do it. Third floor. Then you can do another background image, add a room, or and you can add a room in here. Then you can use our grid here. You can actually snap racks into place. So our racks, so you're kind of looking at a bird's view down from the data center room. So it's when you actually double click on the rack is where you will see the actual front and back of the cabinet. So this is where you would actually bring in devices. I'll bring like a 24 patch panel. I'll bring in a server. I could bring in like a big router. Then I could bring in power as well. So I know you guys mentioned about cables in netTerrain. I'll show you how you can do this. Cisco device needs to have cards. So again, I'm just basically drag and drop on the items from the catalog, right, to create your rack view. In order to insert cables between devices, say you select these two devices, you right click, hit connections, and then you would insert cables. And this will take you to the actual ports. This is the card, hit create connection, and also do Ethernet. So that's done. If you want to double click on the card, and this is the port-to-port connection I just created. To manage links and connections, if you double click on any links, it'll take you to what we call a swim lane CLR, so you can see how things are connected to each other. So again, port 0 inside card name 2, inside a Cisco device, inside this rack, inside this room. On the 3rd floor in the HQ building. It's connected through an Ethernet connection to port B1 inside 24 patch panel. And this is a cross connect. So one thing about our catalog, since everything really drives off from the catalog, I'm going to go here real quick. We have about 9,000, actually more than 10,000 devices in netTerrain. If there's a particular device that's not in the catalog, you can either, one, add a new device type on your own. You just need to hit the category, upload your image, if it's favorite, and the width and height. Or, like 99% of our customers, they would request a new device in our catalog, and in turn, we'll give it back to you within 24, 48 hours. You don't have to wait 2 weeks, 2 months, next version release date. We give it to you pretty fast. Again, that's usually overnight. And we'll provide you a zip file that you can just upload right here. Same thing here with the power connections, right? So I'll connect this power with the server, hit connections, hit insert cables. It's going to use this power supply 1 port. I'll connect it to port 1, create connections, and this will be power. So if you click on the device, you'll see this is the power connection I just created. So once you start filling out this this rack, let me just do another router here. And if you go back to the actual data center room, you'll notice that the rack actually turns color. And this is done because of these rack overrides right here. So you can actually check the racks by space availability, power availability, and weight availability. If you want to do connections between 2 racks, I'll just add another device in here. Then you click these 2 racks, hit connections, same thing, insert cables. And this will actually take you down to each device inside the rack. So I'll just this probably doesn't make any sense, but I'll just do this. And that's how you make connections between 2 racks. So I'm going to go to a more populated diagram for racks, because we only have like 10 minutes left. So I'm going to go here to University of Maryland. Again, these are buildings. This is more of our outside plants, fiber connections, which we can do another webinar about. But I'm going to go to the building, 3rd floor. So this is a larger data center room where it shows all different racks connected to power. And I want to show you here. So these are the rack override colors. So manage the capacity with your data centers. You can easily see at a glance there's space available. If it's not full, empty, you can tell about the color codes. We have a lot of reports as well, showing the number of devices in the data center room, how many ports are connected, ports that are free. If you click on a rack, it shows you the available units available, the power used, as well as the weight that's used. Double click on the rack, it will show you that there's 12 devices in here. Again, number of ports that are connected. We go through our dashboard reports. This goes through more capacity planning. So this is a full-fledged business intelligence BI tool for the dashboards. You can customize the look and feel of this, add as many dashboard type reports. So this is just showing you a summary of your netTerrain project. This has data capacity for space, racks, power, temperature. Showing top 5 rings of rack counts, rack utilization, nameplate power, and weight. This shows rack capacity by rooms, as well as nameplate power. If you want to see all your assets within your data center rooms, this is a good asset type report. If you want to see all your 928 Dell equipment, click on the pie chart that you can export to CSV. And I'll touch upon the power a little bit. So netTerrain does offer real-time power monitoring as part of our DCIM product. One thing about netTerrain, we don't have any add-ons. If you want DCIM, you get everything. The only add-on module we have is our asset plant module. It's only to document the fiber strands. So here, so these dashboards you can customize. That shows the events. You can actually manage down to the actual device itself. But we can go through more of this in more detail. It uses IPMI, SNMP, SSH, in-band to go out and discover all your devices and the real-time power temperature. Another type of report you can do in netTerrain is our query type tool. So for example, if you want to see all the equipment with the maintenance status coming up for renewal, you can run these query type reports as well. So this is showing all the equipment that's maintenance is going to be expiring soon and warranty. So that's another type of report you get in netTerrain. So again, with netTerrain DCIM, you can manage the space capacity, the power capacity. I'll show you the rack that's tied into the environmental monitoring module. So these are color-coded based on the severity level of the real-time power monitoring. You can also track cost per hour. This shows you, again, it's using the Dell iDRAX, which is part of IPMI. That's discovered using IPMI. And this is showing you the power and the temperature and the cost. So this is how you tie in the real-time power monitoring in our EM module to the actual rack diagrams. So we have 3 minutes left. I want to talk about our netTerrain collector real quick. So how do you import data into netTerrain? I think there were like 5 of you guys that use a current DCIM type solution. We have what we call the integration toolkit. If you have a SQL database, we can do SQL connector to import your database. We also have our own SNMP network discovery. We also have many hooks into third-party applications, SolarWinds, ServiceNow, Remedy CMDB. If a lot of you have a cloud visualization type tool like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform was a GCP, where you have a brand new cloud monitoring type tool in our next release. It's going to, for AWS, it's going to discover your EC2 instances, CloudFront, Kubernetes, the cost as well. So netTerrain can not only document the physical infrastructure, it can also monitor your cloud infrastructure as well. So with that said, I'll stop this for now. I'm so sorry, there's a lot of information for a 20-minute demo. Barely scratched the surface. So if you do want to reach out. Feel free. One of my colleagues, Adriana, I think she's going to be contacting you in case you want to schedule a further demo, or feel free to email us at sales@graphicalnetworks.com. So I'll stop my share. Mark, yes, we do have integration servers now and SolarWinds. SolarWinds, we can discover everything and bring it into, we bring in your nodes and links, tables and SolarWinds and bring it into netTerrain. ServiceNow, yes, we can have API connectors to ServiceNow. You can actually write back to ServiceNow as well. And we have a current customer that requires a write back to their ServiceNow service tickets. And that's something that we will have out at some point this year. Tony, do we support Netbox? Yeah, so our device catalog is vendor agnostic. So you get as many vendor manufacturer devices in our catalog. If there are any other questions, please do let me know. Otherwise, it is 2:30 on the dot, and that will conclude my webinar. So thank you so much for attending. We will supply you the DoorDash gift card to everyone that's attended. And yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. I don't know if there's another slide here. Oh, yes. Let me share my screen one last time. Share screen. All right, so again, feel free to email me directly. It's fred.co@graphicalnetworks.com or go to our website, graphicalnetworks.com. If you want to try out netTerrain for 14 days, we do offer our netTerrain cloud as a testing platform. So you will need to go to netterrain.us. So I'll put this in the chat. Go here and start my free trial. Put your username, your name, email address, your password, and you're off you go. If you require an on-prem download, that would need to be scheduled through me or one of my other sales reps. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And yeah, happy documentation, happy documenting, and you guys and ladies have a great rest of your day.